Hello and welcome back to Nasty Nate, Plant Exterminator and the Farm of Doom. And I'm over here at back over here at Roki's Green Beans. We've since had some rain. So these green beans that were a little yellowish have definitely, where they were really yellow is still, they're coming back. But the areas that was already kind of green is just dark green now. So that's good to see. I was thinking about my name there for the channel. I would actually like to have maybe a catchy intro tune and give it a couple pelvic thrusts there at the beginning to really set the Nasty Nate, really make it pop a little bit. But I haven't quite gotten around to that yet. But don't you worry, those pelvic thrusts are coming. But I'm checking out these green beans, and they're looking great. I mean, I'm just on the edge here. I'm not going through the rows. They have some. It looks like they need some weed attention here, but the green beans look great. They'll be ready to harvest this week, if they're not already to harvest now. I mean, that looks like a good green bean right there. And a lot of these are ready, so these could actually be, some of these could go through and do a harvest on them. So, and then once they do start harvesting, they'll be harvested twice a week and hopefully get around maybe 15 harvests or so off of them. And we won't take these to the market here because they really mess with you. It's just they'll go to Boulevard and get the market price there. It's a little better that way. But I had showed these bananas here. These were the ones where that row had just kind of gotten, it was down here, it was down on the slope next to the crop over here on the other side of the mangosteen line. And so they had kind of gotten forgotten about. They looked like a lot more of them had died, and then a couple of them did. This one actually got skipped because it's on the little trail down. But we got this weeded, and you can see that the stalk is a bit skinnier, but it looks like they'll bounce back here. We just need to give them some attention and get them some fertilizer here, because we're going through and fertilizing today and probably the next couple of days. So most of those are going to bounce back, and even the ones that did, a couple that didn't, I already have those replanted because we had planted some more suckers, and it looks like now I don't have to purchase any more. So I wish I could get my hands on tissue cultures. I would pay the premium for the tissue cultures, and maybe one from the Department of Agriculture that I know is a little more of the TR4 fungal resistant, but I haven't even heard of that. I've just heard of that new Cavendish that's TR4 fungal resistant. That would be interesting, but I don't have to purchase suckers anymore. And finally I found the place that if I did have to, that's where I would go, because it's a very well maintained banana plantation where they have they remove their bunchy tops, so you don't have to worry about where you're going to have a huge percentage of, when you go to plant those suckers, a huge percentage of bunchy tops. And you can tell just from the field that they're much better taken care of. So, but it doesn't matter, because I know my bananas are taken care of just as well, if not better. And now I've got plenty of suckers coming up to where it's going to be hard keeping up with them. In fact, and then shortly, once I finally finish the planting, we won't be able to plant those suckers. It'll just be desuckering, because you don't want to have too many suckers around using up the nutrients for the banana. You want them pumping those nutrients into banana production. So, in which case, I already have some inquiries on folks that want to purchase. You're not going to make much on the banana suckers, but to me it's not worth it even selling the suckers, because when you dig up the sucker, it's a little more damaging to the banana, as far as you dig up a bigger portion of the banana root there, and you'll end up with some bananas that'll fall because of that. You'll get some that'll drop, and it'll typically be one with a bunch comes along and it got some big suckers removed around it, and the dirt can get properly placed back in, and then that'll fall over, and then you'll lose one that was ready to produce a bunch. So instead of making however many pesos you would off of that bunch, anywhere from, depending on the weight and the price, anywhere from 300 to 500 pesos, you end up making the 2 or 3 suckers would have been. But on the same token, there's some folks that some farmers nearby that I kind of like, and if they really want my suckers, and they really should, but to kind of deter them, it'll be a 10 peso per sucker charge, which is what I paid for the good ones myself. And since I know you don't want to go through getting the crappy ones and ending up having different issues with bunchy top or not coming up. And then when you see the bunchy top, because that's clear, then you wonder what other issues they might have had over there. Typically, it would be they were already affected by the which fungus is that's so prevalent? Oh, the sigatoka. So, but if some of my neighbors do particularly want mine, then I'll charge them for 10, and that doesn't even cover the cost of some of the lost bunches, but at least it gets the bananas desuckered like they need to be anyway, and then it also helps out with the neighbors, and you make a couple of pesos to kind of help out with the loss on the bunches that end up falling over. Got a couple little tiny rows of silly peppers right next to those green beans too, and they do not, I'm not sure they're iron silly peppers, because they both did silly peppers and green beans, but Roki's silly peppers just haven't been very good. In fact, I almost stepped on a couple because I didn't even know they were here. They're the real tiny ones, and I think he may have planted these direct into the soil, and that might have been the issue. And I know Ian planted his. Ian, that's the silly pepper there. That's the silly pepper there. That's the silly pepper there. And it's hard to see with the weeds even. So I know Ian planted his in the, he didn't use the seedling trays, but they did this little banana leaf wrap type deal, and his look really good. So. But regardless, the green beans are filling in here. So I'm going to go ahead and get moving on here. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe.